On the morning of March the 16th, 1967, Captain Robert Salas was the Deputy Missile Combat Crew Commander at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. He was underground, 60 feet below the surface, in a hardened launch control capsule responsible for 10 Minuteman I intercontinental ballistic missiles. Each of those missiles carried a nuclear warhead. Each was aimed at the Soviet Union, and each was designed with redundant systems specifically to ensure that it could never be accidentally disabled. At approximately 8:30 in the morning, Salas received a call from the topside security guard. The guard was frightened. He reported a glowing red object hovering silently above the front gate. While Salas was still on the phone, the missiles began shutting down. One by one, the launch indicators went from green to red. Within seconds, all 10 Minuteman missiles under his command went to a no-go condition. 10 nuclear weapons designed to survive a Soviet first strike were disabled simultaneously by something the United States Air Force has never been able to explain. Tonight I want you to tell me, what do you think switched them off? Comment below. Salas was not alone in his experience that morning. At a separate launch control facility, Echo Flight, the same thing happened. Captain Eric Carlson and First Lieutenant Walt Feigl were on duty when their 10 missiles also went offline. The events at Oscar and Echo flights happened within minutes of each other, affecting 20 nuclear missiles in total. Both incidents were accompanied by reports of unidentified aerial objects near the facilities. The Air Force investigated. Boeing, the contractor responsible for the missile systems, conducted an extensive analysis. They could not determine the cause of the failures. The missiles were designed with hardened electronics specifically to resist electromagnetic interference. Each missile had independent systems. A simultaneous failure of 10 missiles in a single flight, let alone 20 across 2 flights, was not supposed to be possible. The engineering team concluded that no known external stimulus could have caused the shutdowns. The incident was classified. Salas and the other officers involved were told not to discuss it. The official Air Force position was that no such event had occurred. For decades, that was where the story stayed. Salas came forward publicly in the 1990s. He has testified at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., at multiple conferences, and has written a detailed account of the events. He has never retracted his testimony. He has never modified his story. He passed a polygraph test on the matter. His account is corroborated by Feigl, by maintenance records, and by the Boeing investigation report. Malmstrom was not an isolated incident. The connection between UFO activity and nuclear weapons sites is one of the most consistent patterns in the entire phenomenon. In December 1980, the Rendlesham Forest incident, which we covered in a previous episode, occurred between 2 NATO bases that were nuclear capable. In the 1970s, multiple nuclear weapons storage areas in the United States reported unidentified objects hovering above them. In 1975, a wave of UFO incursions over Strategic Air Command bases, including Malmstrom, Loring, Wurtsmith, and Minot, was so significant that it generated official communications at the highest levels of the Air Force. The pattern is not limited to the United States. The Soviet Union documented similar incidents. In 1982, at a nuclear missile base near the Ukrainian city of Bielogorovice, Soviet military personnel reported a disc-shaped object hovering over the facility. During the sighting, the launch systems reportedly entered an active launch sequence, the opposite of what happened at Malmstrom. The missiles armed themselves. The sequence was only stopped when the object departed. This incident was documented by Soviet military officers and has been discussed publicly by former Russian military personnel. In 2010, Salas organized a press conference at the National Press Club featuring 7 Air Force officers who testified about UFO interference with nuclear weapons systems. Captain Bruce Fenstermacher described incidents at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. Colonel Charles Holt discussed the Rendlesham events. Each officer testified that unidentified objects had demonstrated the ability to interfere with the most secure weapons systems on Earth, and that the Air Force had systematically suppressed the information. The implications are profound and uncomfortable. If an unknown intelligence has repeatedly demonstrated the ability to disable or activate nuclear weapons at will, it means 2 things. First, that whoever or whatever is behind these craft possesses technology that is incomprehensibly more advanced than anything in any nation's arsenal. Second, that they are specifically interested in our nuclear capability. Not our cities, not our governments, our weapons. Some researchers, including Salas himself, have interpreted this as a warning, a demonstration that the use of nuclear weapons will not be tolerated. Others see it as surveillance, a strategic assessment of our military capability by an unknown intelligence. Either interpretation leads to the same conclusion. Something is monitoring our nuclear arsenal, and it has the ability to control it. The United States Air Force maintains that UFOs have never posed a threat to national security, and that no UFO has ever interfered with nuclear weapons. Captain Robert Salas, who was sitting 60 feet underground when his missiles went dead, disagrees. Subscribe now and follow the evidence. In the summer of 1950, the physicist Enrico Fermi sat down to lunch with 3 colleagues at Los Alamos National Laboratory. The conversation turned to recent UFO reports in the news. Fermi listened, did some quick mental arithmetic, and then asked a question that has haunted science ever since. Where is everybody?